Hello and welcome to Serious Sentiments. I am Johnny Kane, and I come to you today from North Minneapolis, Minnesota. Beautiful North Minneapolis. I invite every tourist to come here. Anyway, today's video is a very important one, and I'll try to condense it quick. I just had a person in my car. I was explaining some 9/11 thoughts to him, and I felt like I should probably put them down on video before I forget. I will never forget them, but I mean, just while I'm thinking of them freshly. All right, who benefited out of 9/11 the most? I'll start with the lowest rung. People around the world who played the stock market for bad things to happen leading up to 9/11. There was unusual activity leading up to 9/11 in the put option markets, people betting on bad things to happen to certain businesses. Now, in the 9/11, the Twin Towers and all that, and Building 7, there was some large corporations and banks and just big. Merrill Lynch, I believe, was another one of them. People were betting on that in the stock market for bad things to happen in large amounts all over the world. In the stock markets of the world, people made a lot of money off of 9/11. So that proves to me there was prior knowledge, plus the fact that there was several people that came out that said, like, they were told not to go to New York City, or like we're about to get aboard a plane or something. They were told, no, don't get on, sir. Like the mayor of, I think, San Francisco at the time. So, prior knowledge, people benefited. People benefited financially there. Okay, now the people who ran the Twin Tower and owned the Twin Towers, I believe Larry Silverstein and his group of investors, I believe they put up close to $100 million just 6 months before 9/11 for all the complex, all 7 buildings. Remember, they were full of asbestos, and it would have cost a lot of money to fix that. Billions, probably, which, well, are somewhere high to get rid of this problem in the Twin Towers and to keep them running. It would have cost a lot of money. So Silverstein's group gets, a $100 million type of investment. Just 6 months later, or with all the litigation, let's say a year and a half, 2 years later, they made $6 billion off of their $100 million investment. So they benefited. A private group of people who, they didn't go to work that day, even though they were always up in the towers at that time of the morning every day, eating breakfast, and their son and daughter that worked in the building too just didn't happen to make it that day either. Prior knowledge again, financial benefit again, the Silverstein group. Now let's go to people where it wasn't, and it was still financial, but little dreams of my father, as Obama once said. George W. Bush and his group of absolute turds in his cabinet, his vice president, his military options, his FBI director, Mueller, and just the CIA and everything. What he got was the dreams of, now we get to go back to Iraq. Oh, yeah, now we get to put more bases in Afghanistan so we can have Iran completely, surrounded. We got bases in Germany now. We'll have bases in Afghanistan, right on within miles of Iran. And we'll have other countries in the Middle East surrounded with bases. The ones out of, wherever else in the Middle East, we have some sort of airstrips and bases and joint use of whatever. So, and not to mention, they take out their puppet, Saddam Hussein, former CIA, crony, and they put their foothold in there, and then chaos happens. But financially, going to war, a lot of the George W. Bush people profited largely. Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney, Condoleezza Rice, Colin Poop Powell. That's the way I'd like to frame his whole legacy. Poop. So George W. and his whole group of people that were basically behind the scenes, the oil people, they all benefited financially again. The prior knowledge, where's the best place to be when something really terrible happens in this country and you're the one in charge? Reading a book to second graders miles and miles and miles away. That's the best little alibi, isn't it? Because you're seen reading a children's book to second graders, and boy, you must be a great guy, because, you were just out reading little books. And this shit happened, and you just sat there, and you didn't do nothing, and and by the way, a plane turned around that was going to San Francisco, somewhere over Virginia or West Virginia or something, and just did a little You turned towards the Pentagon for 40-some minutes, and you didn't shoot it out of the air? You allowed it to hit the Pentagon? All the records at the Pentagon, the accounting departments where they couldn't find all this missing couple trillion, the Pentagon and the Defense Department just couldn't, they had no clue where it all went. Maybe explosives, maybe detonations, maybe people to pay. A lot of people had to probably make a little cashola to sell out everything that if they were Americans, they had to sell out big. That probably cost big. But they had to probably bring in foreigners, disguised as maybe janitors or building inspectors or God knows what, because they had to get the detonations and all the chargers into those buildings, Building 7, the Twin Towers, both of them. I mean, this is a big operation that people had prior knowledge, basically knowing that, these buildings were going to come down. Oh, I wonder why Larry Silverstein wasn't eating at that time in the morning like usual that day. Geez, that's funny. There's a captain who didn't go down with the ship, I can tell you that. So, final group of people who made out the most, though. The most by far. By far. It's the cell phones. It's the cell phones. You know why? Because basically in 2001, very few people in the world had cell phones. And I know for a fact that the cell phone producers, the Samsungs, the Apples, stuff like that, knew that within 10 years, almost everyone was going to have a cell phone. And what bigger spy tool could Hitler have ever dreamed of if he had you putting a spy device on your body, in your car, at your home near you, almost at all times, listening to you, a computer basically reporting every word said, every word. They look for little keywords, algorithm words. Oh, this guy said, we're going to kill the Yankees tonight. The big game between the Twins and the Yankees. And all of a sudden, because you said kill, all of a sudden that computer sends it off to somebody, then they'll beep, beep, beep. Or check out this one. And maybe an agent sits down and goes, well, let's hear. Okay, that's okay. He was just talking about a baseball game. But still, the cell phones, the manufacturers, the spyware companies, people made money again. And the government, in perpetuity, ended up getting spy devices. Remember the old Obama free phones? Hey, everybody. And remember, George W. Bush started that program. George W. Bush wanted to make sure to get a cell phone into everybody's hand because they wanted to spy. Well, thanks for watching Serious Sentiments. Have a good day.